All right, ladies and gentlemen, we still here in Mombasa, and we here with the world famous Rahh. So Rahh has come down to visit and chat with me and everything. Rahh, thank you for joining us, and I'm glad you come talk to me, brother.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right,
Okay.
so Rahh.
Yes, sir.
How long you been in Mombasa?
21 years. 22 years this December.
Okay, so tell people that story. How did you get to Mombasa? Where you from?
I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. And I became black conscious in 1986 and officially changed my name in 1987. And I decided right away that I had to go to Africa, but it took me 10 years to make that trip, to make that journey. I literally had to just say, stop my life, let me go. Because you keep postponing like that, you can get tied up in the system and your mind can be playing tricks on you and you just feel like next month, next year, next month. And I got tired of that and just said, saw a small window of opportunity, and I originally came for a 3-month visit, but it ended up being 21 years.
All right, let's back up to that. So you was in Los Angeles, California. What events happened that led you up to say, you know what, I think I need to, I don't know about this American situation anymore. What led up to that?
Well, I wanted to be a policeman, and that was my dream out of high school. And I did everything. I'm an extremist, so I did everything to prepare for that. And my mother had died, and I was basically on my own for the moment I was 18. So as soon as I turned 21, I signed up for the police department. They said you had to go a year without traffic tickets because I used to race cars. And so I went 1 year without a traffic ticket. Went back and applied, went through the rigorous background investigation, everything, passed everything, got into the academy, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, these white training officers started targeting me. And to cut the long story short, they racismed me out of the academy by lying to me and saying that you can come back in 6 months. And so that failed. And then I went back into computers because I was in computers. And then one day I was training with my instructor in martial arts at the Temple 27 in Los Angeles. It's now a mall. And as I was going into the basement of the mosque to train, there was a brother that was in the main hall telling me there's a show going on, there's an event. And I was like, okay, I'll come to the event after I finish my training. But I had no intention of going. I was going to train. I knew when I came out he wouldn't be there, but he was there. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I went inside just to, get the guy off my back. And when I went inside, they were showing the Los Angeles City Hall building, which is on the badge of the police, and saying that this was the step pyramid, and then it goes down like this in levels, and then you start tying it into being black. And so to cut the story even shorter, everything that had happened to me started making sense. You know what I mean? About the racism and all that. I was gullible. And then I became black conscious like that through Ashwa Kwesi. So Ashwa Kwesi was just generous enough to take somebody like me. And I went to his house because he lived right around the corner from me, and he started explaining to me from the morning into the evening. And I became conscious like that. And what really was big about that part was they just came out with VHS tapes. If you remember the old tape machines, and I had one. And he was making his first VHS tape to explain all this details that Dr. Ben used to have lectures on.
Right.
Dr. Ben would talk, but and he had maybe a projector, but you couldn't take it home and rewind it and go through it. See? So I got that tape, and then just like weeks, how you go and sit on your couch and you're just in your underwear and you just can't believe it, and you're watching this video, then you rewind it and watch it again, and that got me. And so everything that happened to me in the past made sense, from my time at the LAPD and also even when I was working with corporate America. So that is how I came to become conscious, and then immediately I sat down, got an encyclopedia because there was no Google at the time, and looked for an African country to go to. Ended up choosing Kenya, and I got some Kenyan friends after that, and then the rest was just like a flow. And 10 years down the line, I had left corporate America. I had my own business, and I just saw a window of opportunity, and then I came. So I landed in Nairobi.
So now you finally get to Nairobi. You left America. What was the first things that you noticed in Nairobi was definitely different than being in LA?
Well, the first thing that I noticed when I got into Nairobi was that everybody was walking everywhere. You just look around and Kenyans was walking. I was like, where is that person going? I'd be in the car and I'd pass somebody walking, and then we'd be driving for like 5 minutes, and there's nothing in that area. So that guy that we passed 5 minutes walking where, But there's a lot of people in Nairobi, as you know, and they're very busy. They're always walking, doing somewhere. They're hustling. Kenyans are really, they're really not looked at for the hustlers that they are. In America, as well as even in Russia, there's Kenyans. So these people, they like to hustle wherever they can make money, and that is part of the reason why they like to travel out a lot, compared to not the South Africans don't really, you can see that difference in Kenyans compared to other African nations.
So when it comes to the police, when you got to Nairobi, how did the police treat you versus America?
The police were always understanding that I was a foreigner. So they have a way they deal with foreigners. Now you can be like me, I'm just a humble foreigner, but you can be also an arrogant foreigner. You get black people here that they feel that they have to show that they are superior, that they come from the U.S. and the U.S. is superior. And if you go with that attitude with the police, they have something for you. It's not new. That's the way they do you. If you show like you're arrogant, they get this from Mozungus. White people come here and they mistreat Africans, and then the police know what to do with you. I was in remand for a week, 2 weeks, on a court case, and I was there with white people. They was being treated, worse than me because they were arrogant. They gave to a hotel. They made a large bill, and then they refused to pay the bill. So they was locked in remand, and that is. I can say that if you once you talk to them and they understand you, then they'll help you. Because I had nothing but help all through the time I've been there. They always give me advice. You have things that run slower here, so they may tell you sit down, and you're going to be sitting there for 20 minutes, before they help you. But eventually they will help you. You just have to know that that's Africa. It doesn't really move fast.
Yeah, I noticed that much. I mean, it's not like America where everything is so quick, and you got to be on time so much. I mean, everybody kind of slow and kind of do things. But now you talk about the Mozungus, right? The Mozungus, from what I noticed, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, they kind of know their place here. And what I mean by that is not like in America where they talk to you any kind of way, calling 911 on you, following you in the store, like just being oppressive. So would you agree that Mozungus know their place here?
Yeah, well, that you see, white people are only less than 7% of the world population. But if you really look at the media situation and the way they try to present themselves, they try to present themselves as if they're meanie. It's always on TV. It's always, even in a lot of documentaries, they have to show that they are there. They're everywhere. And really, they're a very small number. So when you get them in small numbers, they're humble. But when you get them where they're like the majority, then they show I don't know if you could call it their true colors or what, but they're very arrogant. And then, they fear us. They fear black people in general. So when we're around them, they tend to, especially when they're in the majority, they tend to try to keep us down. That is part of oppression, what many people call racism. But I don't see racism as oppression. I see it as economic oppression, because that's the way they can come at us. That's how they come at us, and that's how they've been defeating us, all these 400 years. Economically, everything starts from economics.
Well, let me ask you a question. In America, many of them tell us, go back to Africa. If you don't like it here in America, leave, go to Africa.
They don't mean that.
Then when I get here, okay, I'm seeing them here. So if Africa or African nations is so bad, then why do you think they're here? And you mentioned that they're afraid of us. If they're so afraid, why are they here?
When they say go back to Africa, they don't really mean that. The greatest fear of the white man, especially in the United States, is black people leaving in mass. When you really analyze the whole situation, that is their greatest fear, that we will leave in mass. If you really think about it, they spend billions and billions of dollars of portraying Africa as this worst place, simply and making the United States seem like it's this great place, till you and I get the feeling that we're in the best place in America. I'm here in America, I got racism, but at least I ain't got to be, running through the jungle or things like that, you see? So this miseducation, this actual brainwashing has been in effect for decades, and it keeps us from going out and seeing for ourselves. So like you, like many other blacks that come here, you're literally surprised that there's development and that the people are friendly, all these lies. So that is the basic case. They fear us, and their greatest fear is for us to get up in a mass. Like, even if you take 400 blacks and move, that affects the economy. And I did a show the other day about how you defeat racism. And the actual way to defeat racism is to leave the country. Now, I don't mean it like literally like leave the country, but I'm saying if you take, like, you're here now, you're not spending gas in a car in America, and the economies are measured by consumer spending. So when we pull ourselves out of America, and let's say you come to Africa, for that time you're not spending in America, and that actually really affects the economy. And so with racism being all about economics, naturally, we're not, if we move here, we're not paying taxes here, everything goes from America to, you're making the African country rich, as opposed to, making America rich. And that is how you can defeat economic racism, by pulling your cash and not spending it in America.
Well, let me ask you a question. There are people in America that will say, black people, well, Rahh, our ancestors built America, and that, our blood, sweat, and tears are here, our ancestors are buried here, and why should we abandon America since we built it, to leave it to all these other people? What do you say to those group of people?
That's a lame-ass excuse. It's lame. We built Africa, so why you stepping at the slavery guys? We'll go past that point. Before you was kidnapped and stolen by the white man to go into Africa to build those places, you was building your own home and had family in Africa. Why are you stopping at slavery? That thing doesn't hold water. They're just trying to come up with excuses on why they don't want to either don't want to leave America or want to stay in America. So a lot of our people believe that they can't make the transition, and so therefore they try to justify it with these lame excuses of our slavery's built America. Yeah, we built America, but we also built Africa, and that's our home. So who would want to? Why you got to stay where they forced you to build when you can go all the way back to where you came from, not have to deal with those people that enslaved you, and build in your own continent? Because the only continent you have is Africa, unless you feel like America is your home. But how can that be a home when you got 400 years of oppression, to the point today where we don't even have a black community? You know, I'm like, you know, no more Harlem. You know, so even if this ADS people get money, it just go right back into the system because you don't have a community. So 70% of black homes with headed by females, this is a product of your environment. And the only way to correct it, because white people are biased consciously and subconsciously, the only way to correct it is to get away from them. You know, and I say this all the time. We owe it to our children, our next generation, to put them in a place where they can have a good chance to prosper. Is the United States a good place for them to prosper? Well, we got 400 years of economic oppression that has removed our black communities now, and replace that with 1 million in prison. It's jokes.
Well, since I've been here, like I said, and even my wife can attest to this as well, we don't have no stress at all. I don't feel the stress. I don't feel the weight, you know, the hatred, stress, oppression. I mean, because America is really oppressive, you know, really to everybody, but especially to the black man and black woman of America. Very, very, very stressful. Now, that also affects our overall health.
Yeah.
As well.
Yes.
Stress will kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. Racism will kill you. If it didn't ever kill you physically, it'll hurt your health. Now, what if people will say, even though they because a lot of times I notice they when they tell me that, I be patient with them because they just don't know no better because they haven't really came out and just seen it. Now, what if they tell you this? Well, Phil, we leave in mass, then you know the Africans will get upset because we not in their tribe, we not them. What do you say to that?
Well, I don't think we'll ever really move in mass, but Africa is made up of tribes. You know, I live here. I know I've dealt with all the tribes, basically, not all of them, but the major ones, and we would just be like another tribe because you see, if you could understand how Africans react. Here's one guy from one tribe. He's talking to another guy from another tribe. Okay, they have English and they have Swahili. But they basically have two different ideas of what their culture is about. So I know, okay, Phil is from the Green tribe. Those guys, they love money. They like drinking. You see, and he knows I'm from the Red tribe, and he said we're always looking for, we're always wanting to do business. We're for family. So people have their, their idiosyncrasies about each different tribe. So when we come, like with me, and with black Americans here, we're just considered like another tribe, you see. But we won't come in mass, and that means that when we come like individuals, we will be assimilated into the culture. So even if you came here after one generation, let's say a brother comes here with his wife and one kid, and then 15 years from now, the kid will be probably with a Kenyan, and they would have children. The kid would be Kenyan. You see, that's what's happening with me right now. I mean, I just look at my kids. They go outside and play with the other kids, and you can't tell who's who. You see, right. And I know when I die, they'll just go on. They're not going to be American. They're going to be Kenyan. So I feel that in the fight, and some of these black people, they want to talk about, we got to fight. No, the fight is not in America. The fight is pulling yourself out of America because they have been reaping the benefit of our talents for 400 years. And the only way to stop it is for us to leave. All these other solutions, we've tried all of them, and none of them work. The only one that works is the original one. That when they said, you free, nigga, we should have all went down to the port, to the port and got on the first ship and went back. But instead, we wanted to look for family members, and then they got us with Jim Crow. And then they kept us, and that's how it happened.
Right. So there are people that say had a discussion like you, say, I'm thinking about going to Africa or whatever. Then you have this group of, I know it's of black Americans, that will literally start attacking that group and trying to turn that group away from coming here. So what is it about that group? Because I've noticed that a lot, that you have a group that's trying to hold people from trying to leave back. It's not nobody white. It is black American folks. Why do you think they're trying to hold other black people back from trying to come see what's going on in the African nation?
Well, first of all, they need to have a name, so we can identify them and say these are these people. And the name I use is Negro. Martin Luther King talked about it, you know, when he used the term to reference us before Jesse Jackson. And a Negro is someone who is in America. So even you'd be considered a Negro. But there's two different types of Negroes, like Malcolm X had explained to us. There is the house Negro and the field Negro. Mm-hmm. And the field Negro is one trying to get away from master. And the house Negro is like, well, this good white man, why should we leave him? You see? So Samuel L. Jackson was a classic example of that one in Django.
Yeah, Django Unchained.
Django, yeah. And you can see the parallels. Now, I don't have anything against somebody who wants to stay in America. Me, when I got the knowledge, it made me. I was a very good house Negro, but when I got the realization and the knowledge, I became a field Negro. And if I had it all over to do it again, I wouldn't change a thing, because this is worth it. And when I see my children, then definitely they know nothing about racism. They're not second-class citizens. They're not a minority. They can go anywhere. You see, and they can look at me and say, okay, Dad is responsible for that. That is the best thing, because staying in the United States is like, now it's becoming a necessity, almost a necessity for you to have an African plan, and at least so that you can relieve some of that stress. Like when they do you wrong, you can say, well, shoot, let me get my African plan ready, you know. And as opposed to just saying the white man doing something to you, or the system doing something to do something to you, and then you really have no recourse. You do have a recourse, because America is still so-called the land of the free, and you should be able to leave. But as you can even now see, it's going to get harder and harder for you to leave the United States, and they're going to see to that. Now you have to have a passport to go to Canada. You have to have a passport to go outside of Mexico. How are you going to leave? You can't even leave the country if you don't have a passport.
Well, let me take you one further. In October of next year, you got to have what they call a real ID or a passport to travel domestically. And if you don't have that, you can't fly in domestic travel. And you see, they talking about, 9/11 and things they signed, XYZ. But the thing is that I'm telling black people, the writing's on the wall. Within the next 10 to definitely 20 years, this is where we should be. And the way I'm seeing what's going on over there, and you know as well as I know, things are spiraling down.
I'm 61 years old, and I remember a time when there was no AIDS. I remember a time when school was a simple thing. I remember a time when you could get in your car and you really you only had one set of car insurance. I remember life was simple. But today, life is so complicated, and we just adapt to it, but it doesn't. It's not stopping. You know, we're still getting more and more, like you say, these more and more stress of trying to deal in America, and it's not necessary, because you have a continent of your own, and so I can reach some of these people that will say like, okay, yeah, America is treating me badly. And I know I can't reach some of these Negroes that are house Negroes and saying, look, I'm here, my family would never let me leave, or I have too much debt, and I can't never. Nothing is impossible. And if you can't come, then you should realize that your children can get a very good education here in Africa with less expense, without the stigma of racism and all those type of things that go with it. Because they did that test in University of Chicago, where they did resumes with white names and black names.
I remember that.
And 50% black name resume with the same qualification got 50% less callbacks. Now, I was unemployed at one time, and I had to go through, with an agent, go around and look for jobs in computers, And I remember I had to go to a lot of jobs before I finally was hired. And I was really well qualified. I had worked for the government, you know what I'm saying? I had worked on top secret projects. So I don't understand why they didn't pick me up at these other corporate jobs. They say, I'll call you back, let's get back to you. And after you've done about 10 different interviews, you become good at it.
Right.
And I did like 20, 30 of them. So I was like, I can understand that. It took me like 20, 30 job interviews before I could get a job. And if I had my name was Becky Sue or Johnny, I probably would have been picked up right away. And it shouldn't be like that. Not in a country that people are saying this is my country. Joking.
Well, but here you don't have that problem.
No.
So
okay. I didn't mean to cut you off. Let me tell you, it's the complete opposite. I walk into major businesses here. I mean, major businesses in Nairobi, and I can sit at the conference table. And when I talk, because I'm a foreigner, they listen. You see, part of the reason why my martial art, not all of the reason, but part of the reason why my martial art was able to grow so quickly was because I was a foreigner. That attracted people to me. Then when they saw the movements, they were like, wow, But definitely you're going to get a reverse of the, denial stuff.
So basically you get more respect
you
here.
Get so much more respect.
In Kenya or African nations. Well, at least from my experience, it's been nothing but respect. I went to Ethiopia last year, Kenya this year, and it's been nothing but respect, love. I've heard welcome home so much. I even had people tell me, "Oh, I thought you was Kenyan." They told me that like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. In fact, you look Kenyan, but you see, that's exactly what you're going to get. And I say I deserve it because America has treated me so badly, And then another thing is, when a black person comes here, if you decide to come, remember you represent all of us. Some Kenyans you meet, you'll be like the first African American they actually spoke to and talked to. So you always have to be responsible because you don't want to give us a bad impression.
Right.
Give a bad impression of it.
Yeah, you're repping for our tribe.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So I work extra hard and all the work that I do here, and I get the benefits of it because people respect me. People will tell me that I'm doing a great job. You not get that in the U.S. So there's no real. Africa is a very large place, so you really don't get like a lot of competitions from ideas that you might try and develop. But I say that you definitely will get that benefit when you come here. You will be given a chance and judged based on your performance as opposed to the color of your skin.
Right. So Rahh, tell people how they can get to your YouTube channel so they can actually see your videos. I know some people will be interested in seeing that. So tell them how to get there.
Well, I'm new. Okay, I'm not new. Wait a minute, I'm not new. I wrote a book in 2005 called The Black Man's Guide to Moving, Living, and Visiting, Doing Business in Modern Africa. It's on Amazon. You should get it from me. But I'm new at this YouTube channel, and I've been watching your show for many, many years. And when I'm trying to figure out how it goes, hopefully you can give me some good advice. And that is on YouTube at Amin K. Rahh, R-A-H-H, on YouTube. And then my main connection is on Facebook, and you can get me there at Amin K. Rahh. And the Black Man's Guide to Moving to Modern Africa is our group site, and it's 8 years old. Okay. So if you go to that group site on Facebook, wow, you can scroll down years after years and just see so many really pertinent articles and information about comparing what's going on in Africa and what's going on in the United States.
All right. Well, Rahh, brother, I definitely want to thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thank you for coming.
And, it was great meeting you. I seen your interviews and definitely with O'Shea Duke Jackson. Shout out to him. And it was definitely landscape back here with the waterfront. We just had to get you that. This is in Mombasa, Kenya. A lot of these folks don't like to tell you that you could actually see these beautiful sights. Come to African nations, enjoy yourself, and you belong here. And Rahh, he said he'd be waiting on you. with the greeting, right?
I'll be here. Many brothers have come. We sit down. They have questions about how to get around. Somebody like myself who's here can give a lot of advice that save you a lot of money and a lot of problems, and maybe give you things that you didn't really think about. But some brothers, they like to come and just be totally independent, and then do their own thing, and then they run into trouble, and that's not the way to go. So the best way I say is come get with people that have already been here for some time. Let them give you advice. You don't have to take it, but you might find that it's very valuable and will save you a lot of heartache and issues.
All right, brother. Thank you for joining us, and you guys go subscribe to Rahh. Look it up on YouTube. We'll put the link for you guys to get to his channel. Watch it. You can ask some questions. Do live streams a lot. So Rahh will definitely lead you in the right direction. I got respect for Rahh because a lot of people talk about going, but he actually did it. Been here more than 20 years, so he the expert on that. Reach out to the brother.